Okay, we're in the home stretch here. The last thing I want to cover is the multitasking on both tablets. Now, both tablets have multitasking. On the Android tablet here, on the Honeycomb tablet, the way you accomplish multitasking is you use a bunch of programs, and then if you want to jump to one of the old programs that you were using, you have a multitasking button down here, which is next to the home button here. You click on that, and it brings up all of the programs that you were using before. And you can actually scroll through them if your list is long like this. If it's shorter, it's shorter. And you can jump to whatever you want, whatever program you were using that you want to jump back to. On the HP TouchPad, it's a little different. The multitasking on the HP TouchPad is really the star of the show on that device. If there's anything that would make you want to go out and buy an HP TouchPad, it's probably the user interface and the multitasking. Now, as you can see here, I have a bunch of cards pulled up just for this demonstration here. And these are all pretty much the equivalent of the list I brought up here for multitasking. Anything that's on deck, on board, to be used on your HP TouchPad is in this card metaphor here. Okay? So if it's in your multitasking queue, it's one of these cards here. And if you feel you don't want one of these cards anymore, you can just get rid of it. And you've effectively closed that program on your device. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you here is my YouTube channel for this demonstration here. This is my channel. I'm going to start this video up. And I'm going to turn the audio down here. Now, the video is playing in the background. If I want to go and do something else, I can swipe up. It moves it into a card metaphor here. And then I can go play a little solitaire. Now, at the same time, this video is still playing in the background. So you have a large installed base who know how to use this. That's the video. Okay? So I can be playing solitaire and listening to a YouTube video. Personally, there's a couple of video podcasts that I listen to on YouTube, one of which is the Linux Action Show from Jupiter Broadcasting. I suggest you check it out if you're interested in Linux. It's actually an entertaining show. But I don't have to necessarily watch it all the time. I just want to listen to it, and if I want to go and watch something they had just said, I can go back to the home screen and go back and watch the video, and it's still playing. Can still hear it. So that's a killer feature on the WebOS tablet here. So basically what you have here on WebOS, you have real multitasking. You have a program such as this web browser working, and you can move to another program, and this is still working in the background. On Android, what you have, the multitasking you have over here, is it pauses whatever you were doing before and then goes back to it. So let me show you an example here. I'm going to bring up a web page. Now, make no mistake about it. On Android, the web browser is superior to the web browser over here on WebOS. The main reason for that is you actually have tabbed browsing over here, and you can actually import your bookmarks from your desktop computer as long as you're using Chrome on your desktop. So in my book, this web browser is superior to this web browser over here. So all you would have to do if you want to switch to another tab on here, all you would have to do is click this plus button over here, and you get another web browsing tab. Over here on the HP TouchPad, it's somewhat similar, but you actually have one more button press on it. There's an add browser button over here, and I'll click on that, and what it does is it brings the first browser into the background, brings the second browser into the foreground, and you have your what is the WebOS version of tab browsing, even though there really isn't tab browsing, but that's how it's done over here on WebOS. Now, if you want to switch between the two browser windows, you would go back to the home screen and then click on the original browser window there. That's how that's done. Over here, you just click from one to the other, one to the other. So it's superior over here. But in practice, the multitasking, which is, like I said, the star of the show on WebOS, kind of makes that a moot point. Let me show you. Let me turn this up a little bit here. You hear the video playing in the background. And I'm going to go back to that other web page, which was a blank web page, but I'm going to go to it anyway. You still hear the video playing in the background. Let me bring that down. Over here on Android, on Honeycomb, I'm going to play the video. Let me turn it up for you here.
And I'm going to open this thing up because I'm excited.
Now the video's playing here, and I turned up the volume here. Now watch what happens when I switch to the other tab. Pauses the video. Can't hear it anymore. So I've hit a wall over here. It's not a big deal. Maybe you won't encounter this because you don't do a lot of multitasking like that. But when I tend to use a computer, a tablet, whatever, I do a lot of things at once. So I really value the multitasking over here where I can actually listen to something at the same time while I'm doing another thing. So to me that's a killer feature, and it's something that you're not going to find on Android and you're not going to find on iOS. So that brings me to the conclusion of this video, and at the conclusion, like I said, I'm going to give you my opinion. What tablet I prefer. Now this is a tough call for me. It's way tougher than when I pitted the Motorola XOOM against the iPad 2. It's way tougher than when I pitted the HP TouchPad against the iPad 2. If I could, I would take the user interface and the multitasking abilities from here, from the WebOS tablet, and put it onto the Honeycomb tablet. If I could put those two together, I would, but I can't. So I have to choose one. So I'm going to give you a decision here. It's actually going to be a two-part decision, and it's somewhat tied to what kind of cell phone I have. I've had Android from day one. I had the G1 from day one, the Nexus one from day one, the Google TV from day one. That runs off of Android. I've had this from day one. I like Android. I think it's the best mobile operating system for a phone, and as of right now, with all the options out there, I would not own another phone right now other than an Android phone. That being said, if I did not have an Android phone, I would choose the Honeycomb tablet as my tablet, because I think Android is a great operating system, and I would want to own a device that has Android on it. And Honeycomb right now is the most advanced version of Android. Later on this year we're going to get Ice Cream Sandwich, and that will be on tablets and phones, so you'll be able to get the most advanced Android operating system on phones as well. So, like I said, if I did not have an Android phone, I would definitely choose the Motorola XOOM over the HP TouchPad. But that's not the case. I currently have an Android phone. I have the Motorola Atrix phone, and I think it's a great phone. So since that's the case, since I have an Android phone, if I had to only have one of these devices here and my Android phone, I would choose the HP TouchPad as my tablet. Now the reason I say that is because I already have an Android phone, and a lot of the functionality of that Android phone is duplicated here. Sure, with the larger screen real estate, you get different options and you have tablet-specific apps. But right now, the tablet-specific apps aren't so compelling that I have to own this in addition to my phone. Anything that I use that I want, I can get on my phone that I can get on here. So, in my situation, if only I could choose one of these tablets, it would definitely be the HP TouchPad for two reasons. The user interface, I think, is ideal for tablets. I think this user interface is the best user interface I've ever used on a tablet to this date. And I own an Apple iPad 2, I own this Honeycomb tablet, the Motorola XOOM, and I own this tablet over here. I think this is the best user interface on any tablet right now. Also, the multitasking is killer, because like I said, when I'm using any computing device, I tend to do a lot of things at the same time. And I don't want to hit a wall and realize, oh, I'm using a lower powered or I'm using a lower capable device. When I run into those walls, it makes me think, well, why am I using a tablet to begin with? I should just be using my laptop. So I get less situations where I run into a wall just by virtue of the multitasking on this device. I put these devices head to head, feature for feature, spec for spec, and the Android tablet shined in a lot of ways. There were a lot of ways it bested the HP TouchPad. But I have to say, like I said, the user interface is just very compelling, very interesting to me. I'm intrigued by it. And the multitasking is killer, because at the end of the day, you just want to do stuff on your devices. You want to access the information that you want. And the less hurdles that are put in your path to do that, the better. And the more streamlined your user experience is. So, in closing, just to recap, if I did not have an Android phone, I would definitely go with the Motorola XOOM, because I definitely want to own an Android device. But since I have an Android phone, and since I get a lot of the capabilities in that phone that I have on this Android tablet, I would definitely go for the HP TouchPad because of the user interface and the multitasking capabilities. So what do you think? What is your opinion? Please post it down below, because again, all opinions are welcome, and the more voices the better, because anybody that watches these videos is going to look at my assessment, they're going to look at the actual performance of the devices, and they're going to look at your comments to see what device they should purchase. So that pretty much does it for this video. I will see you next time.